So I've just given her some basic skill set. So she's got a standard attack, a sort of combo attack, and a charge spinning attack.
Nice. Some sort of.
She can also, she has, I had to, again, cobble some sounds together. I didn't have time to record any, maybe we can do that later. So yeah, we've got D-pad for choosing between her sword and her torch, so she can explore and investigate the environment, and then her torch is sort of on the gyro, so she can wave it around by moving the pad about. Nice. And she has a block as well. And that's the basic things that I've given her.
That's all
just
you need,
sort of
isn't it?
standard character. Oh, she can run. Run.
Here we go.
In case she needs to run away from something. And that's basically it. And this is all done using.
So what are we looking at? If you explain some of the things that you're looking at.
The brain. So this is basically all the abilities. The
and what are these things that you've got on here at the moment?
So we start off with the control sensor, which is really where the whole thing starts. When you possess the character, this starts to detect the inputs from the DS4 and then fire them out. If you come down here, we can see all the buttons firing out, and these are going to my different circuits, sort of sub-circuits. So we've got our attack and block state machine.
Cool, and you've got a load of logic hidden in there that you've made, which is really cool, but you've like compartmentalized it, like folded it basically to keep it nice and neat.
Hopefully it makes it readable and also not a complete nightmare to sort of debug, or for me to sort of find.
Remember we did that Comic Sans stream and we had the character, the little square dude, and then John opened up the logic and it was just like.
Because I didn't have time to do this, I was like free-forming it because on a train.
So you've put the effort into actually tidying it up and making it into these little sub-microchips.
That's right. I hadn't done this, and John was like, "Can you please?" And I did, because he was right. It was a little bit of a mess.
And now, interestingly, the wires at the moment, they're just auto going to where they want, but you can actually put little nodes on the wires and you can move them around, and so you can route the wires to make them all nice and neat as well if you want.
That's
but usually do that at the end once your logic's in place.
That's exactly right. And I've done it here and there, but it takes time to do. And if you suddenly decide you want to change the circuit, it just. I find it's best to do it at the end.
Tidy it up.
So what's inside these other circuits then?
So the main one I want to show is the state machine, and this is like the main thing that makes all the attacks work. So basically, you have your main state, which is here, and when you start possession, that state becomes active. Now, whenever you press any of the buttons in the control sensor, that feeds through the circuit and activates the different states.
And you've done that by going through one of these exclusive gates.
Yeah, it's called an exclusive gate, exactly. And this is what Matt came up with. This was his idea of how to get. And the really thing that makes it really simple is you can only ever be in one state at a time. So, and when you're in that state, all the other states get powered off. So rather than having to worry about lots of wires looping back and sort of having lots of if and and statements, you're just saying, no, you're in this state. Everything else is
And
gone.
when Kev says state, what he means is like it's when you switch into I am now in attack swing mode. So it'd be turning on an animation of like swinging. It'd be like turning down the warp speed, perhaps. It will be like turning on the damage trigger zone, all that kind of stuff. So a state is basically like it's just a state of being, which can be whatever you want.
I'm quickly what I can do is if I put it on remote control, so I don't actually have to possess the character, and then I just run time and press square, you'll see that this is active, this state. And when I press square, this state becomes active.
And also brings the menu up.
Well, that's it's because we're in edit mode.
Okay, cool. So
the other thing about the states is that basically each state just has a timeline in it, which has my animation of the attack or whatever it is, and then any other signals I need to feed out to damage modifiers, health modifiers, whatever. When the timeline ends, it reverts back to the base state. And that's simple as that. So whenever you want to add a new state, it's just as simple as taking the state you've got, reanimating it, deciding how you want to trigger it, and
so I'd say this is like, for the most part, this is quite complex logic, and it's because you know the tool so well. You've like really gone down into it, and you've made the character do what you want to do.
Totally.
But of course, the default character will be able to do a load of cool things as well, without having to go in and organise all these states and stuff like that. But this is something you can do if you want to.
I mean, I imagine we'll have some circuits all ready to go, like a state machine that you could just put on your character. It's just got the base state and one state set up, and then you can start manipulating it yourself, and hopefully it'll be understandable. If you take a character that's fully fledged, it might be a bit hard to read what's going on because there's so much, but hopefully it will definitely have characters which are simple versions of of these.
But the end result now is a character that's got all these various different moves and like seamlessly transitions between them, which is really cool.
Exactly.
So let's just have a look at the character in play mode again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Now that we've talked about like how it
works. So it's in one state now, which is like I'm walking
This is
an
the
idle.
Yeah, it's just the idle. There's nothing really. It's just using the basic character setup to run everything.
I love the use of the strokes for the cloak on the back. That's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, finding ways. Actually, the shoulder pads have. You
Little
can't
bit of
quite
wobble
see
on
it,
them.
but yeah, you can set wobble on different pieces just to get that secondary motion, which really does sell any character that you do. Just having those little bits that move. Her necklace actually will go up and
Awesome.
down as she jumps.
I've realised looking at this now that we need to put some light in here because there's no shadows because we need to get some
Yes,
direct
that's
light
true.
coming on. So I do that'll be the next thing I do.
She sounds really unsure of herself. Like,
Yeah. Nice.
Thank
Yeah.
you.